So, something I wanted to talk about. I actually did a video the other day and I had to scrap it because my phone had got really hot and stopped recording. So, instead of doing another half and combining them, I didn't feel like doing all of that. I just said, okay, you know what? Let me just make this video and get to this point. So, you saw the thumbnail. And this is what I believe. You see, Roman Reigns winning this Ula Fala and now being deemed the one and only tribal chief. Now, The Rock, as I said before the show actually happened, that, hey, I think, or like, made more like a what if, a strong possibility that The Rock might come out and turn on Roman Reigns. Now whether it's a full heel turn or just an eye, it's a family affair. They both can stay face and still fight. Now, as far as people wanting to see it, that could be something else. But I figured he might come out, not saying like, oh, I think this is definitely going to happen, but hey, that seems feasible. Like, yeah, I think that it might happen. Hey, he comes out, and especially when he took it from Paul Heyman, right? I'm thinking, like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Like, he's gonna put it on him and say, you've beaten, Solo Sikoa, and this Ula Fala represents the tribal chief, and then pretend like, he's gonna put it on him and then put it on himself and tell him, I'm the only tribal chief of this family, or whatever, something to that effect. Bottom line, The Rock left as a heel. He said that his story with Cody Rhodes is only just begun. Remember, he said The Rock has to go away for a little while, and the crowd starts da 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 da, hey, goodbye, right? So it was one of those things, right? He kind of looked up and he started smiling, laughing, because they were being sarcastic with him and all that. But at the same time, him coming back with the whole face persona, it's like, okay, they used The Rock to come back to do his presentation and all that night. I guess they figured they couldn't figure out a way to have him do it and still stay as a heel. They could have. They just couldn't figure out how. Whatever. So, The Rock comes out doing this face thing. We see him backstage hugging Cody Rhodes and being the good guy again. Okay. When he took his glasses off and was staring at Roman Reigns, and I'm thinking, okay, so what does this mean? Because he hugged him and told him he loved him after he gave him the Ula Fala. So my whole thing with that was, all right, if he's going to pull another swerve, another heel turn on Roman, it's going to be an overkill type situation. Because, like I said, if this is what they want to do, because he had every right, every opportunity that night. He came out, we kept seeing The Rock. They showed like 4 or 5 maybe different segments of him, right? He kept showing him. He had the opportunity to make that happen, and this would have made people go, oh shit, because think about it. Solo Sikoa stole the Ula Fala. He never earned it. He stole it. But Roman Reigns, and this is why I said, why are they wrestling for something that Solo never won? Like, okay, now people are okay, whatever. But he could have easily made the tribal chief claim. Whether their match is a main event or co-main event or whatever, it's not that the match can't happen. People didn't want to see The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. They didn't want to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns. They They wanted to see Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. That's what they wanted to see. So they would have been more open to this whole Ula Fowler situation versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. At this point, Cody already has the title and he's not doing much with it, but you know, they're trying to tell you that he's carrying the company. Like, how is he carrying this company? He barely even wrestles. I mean, what is he doing? He's not even in the most interesting storylines at all. By far, there's people on the card that's, you know, in more intriguing things than him. It's just the way the WWE is choosing to use him. Okay, that being said, what I think they were trying to do, because they've been trying to do this like 7-8 years now. They've been wanting to have this match. And sometimes, man, you just got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And I feel like what they were trying to do was, let's see the crowd reaction. Because when he went face to face and he took his glasses off and he's staring at him and then he finally gave him the handshake, I think this was, let's see how the crowd reacts. We'll go on social media, we'll read comments, we'll have, you know, let's see what people are saying about this. Like, is it really worth just having this match, or should we just move on? And that's pretty much what I feel like was happening. And really nobody's talking about The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Like, it's no, oh, we gotta have that match, or like nobody's like making this, you know. And don't get it twisted. You know, content creators, YouTube, all of this is a huge part of what's going on and how we communicate. So, yeah, social media in general. So, yeah, there's nobody really talking about The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Like, this is a match we want to see. So, I don't know that anything comes out of that. I don't know. But, you know, it did look like I could see why anybody would think something may happen, because the way, you know, just the way that little segment, you know, of him, that moment of him staring at him like that and taking his glasses off and hesitating to give it to him. Now, you could also take it as maybe he was just taking it all in, like he's really proud of Roman. Who knows? Either way, The Rock had a lot of airtime, man. They kept showing him. And I feel like that is to try to keep people for the entire show. Because, you know, in wrestling, you have that the first hour is high and then the ratings drop the second hour type of thing. And I feel like they feel like The Rock's presence is going to keep people tuned in. And this is the first night on Netflix. So it was, you know, the way I see it, you know, that's what they were trying to do. And he even went on NXT. I didn't even watch it. I just saw the segment where he and Ethan Page was back there, you know, having a conversation. And he told him he'll see him on the main roster. Yeah, and that's for all the people that don't realize the NXT is not the main roster. It's their developmental company. I don't give a hell. I don't know why people are in such denial about the truth, but that's what they are. And he told Ethan, I'll see you on the main roster one day. Yeah. So, and you guys know why I said that. And for those who might not know, I said that because of people speaking about NXT, like, you know, the WWE working with TNA by having Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry and Rosemary and, you know, Ash by Elegance come out on NXT. You know, Ash by Elegance used to be, what's her name, Dana Brooke. But even she came out to no applause whatsoever. Rosemary came out to no applause, like they didn't even know the hell they were. They know who Joe Hendry is and they know who Jordan Grace is. But like I said, they didn't bring them to their main roster. And that person was making a comparison, saying that TNA completely was buried by AEW. At the end of the fucking day, TNA, and let's be real, TNA didn't need, AEW don't need TNA, WWE doesn't need TNA. TNA doesn't need AEW or WWE when they agreed to work with them. So why are you complaining about something that they chose to do? And if you look at it, nobody in the AEW audience even knew who the hell Moose was. They didn't even know who these two TNA guys was. You see what I'm saying? And this is what I like, for example, when I made the comparison, when I said AEW could easily work with NWA because NWA has a rich history with TBS and TNT. They do have some notable faces that the fans would know. Several. And that's why I said they could do it with MLW, but it won't have the same impact. Because why? MLW is not full of superstars or people that, wrestlers that just like, is like world renowned known. No. But NWA has several faces that you know who they are. And you know, and the fact that they have this rich history, I mean, a little promo package they can put together, there's so many things they could do and have a successful show. See, so it's more than just working with the company, more than just the Forbidden Door concept. With the NWA, it's more personal, more of an intimate thing. See, this is where I was going with that. And so the comparison is, like I said, everybody that came from TNA that wrestled anybody in AEW wrestled on Dynamite, not AEW Dark. But let's just be real, man. That's where the developmental guys go. That's where the lesser guys go. And sending Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry to NXT, yeah, that's pretty much like, yeah, the level that they treated them on. You're not even on our. You're not. We're not putting you on Raw, SmackDown, and that's why when the comparison about the Motor City Machine Guns came up, I'm like, you guys are misinformed. See, you're talking shit because, yeah, the Motor City Machine Guns was a product of TNA at one point. They're no longer on that roster. They left TNA. You think that WWE is going to give TNA wrestlers that they're fucking tag team champions? I mean, and for one, let me show you how stupid that would be. One, Jordan Grace is like 26, 20 years old. So Jordan Grace is young. Jordan Grace has a lot more left to give than the Motor City Machine Guns do. You understand what I mean? They're a lot of wear and tear in their bodies, and you know, they're getting up there. So she has more longevity than they do. Why in the hell would you not put Jordan Grace on the main roster but put the Motor City Machine Guns on it? And neither company, and if neither one was signed. But no, and I know, I'm not assuming, yeah, no, the Motor City Machine Guns are no longer in TNA. So yeah, that's why that happened. And that's why I said what I said about, made the comparison about AEW working with WWE as opposed to you know, with TNA as opposed to the WWE working with TNA. How the hell, if they got embarrassed by AEW, what was so cool about Jordan Grace coming out, getting the pop, and then getting eliminated so easily? I mean, you know, she got some moves off of some people or whatever, but she didn't do anything special in there. And the most memorable thing she did was came face to face with Naomi, because, you know, she's the one that took Naomi's title before Naomi left. That was her last match before she left and came back to the WWE. That's pretty much all that was. And then she got eliminated by Bianca Belair. You understand what I'm saying? Like, easily. That one, and she wrestled Roxanne Perez and lost. And then on an episode of Impact, they had a couple where, you know, Sol Ruka went over there. Nobody in the fucking TNA audience knew who the fuck Sol Ruka was. They didn't know who that. I forget the other wrestler from NXT, but they didn't even know who the hell they were. They had no fucking applause. Like, it was like, who the fuck is this? They didn't even know who they were. And so, yeah, you're comparing someone who's fought main roster wrestlers versus someone who's fighting fucking developmental wrestlers. Roxanne Perez eventually will leave NXT and end up on SmackDown or Raw. You understand what I'm saying? Jordan Grace signing with the WWE whenever that happens, whether they send her to NXT, which they're stupid if they do that, because the audience knows who she is, and they don't want to see her on no fucking NXT. NXT people, the NXT fans maybe, but just WWE overall, yeah, man, you want to see her on SmackDown or Raw. You think Jordan Grace would prefer being on NXT over the main roster? And I bet you the pay isn't the same. Yeah, so at the same, you know, so for that matter, just that for that alone, I feel like whatever they choose to do is what they're going to do. That's not really not what I wanted to talk about, but I just got into it thinking about it. Truthfully, what I see going on. But hey, you know what? Hey, I'm glad I got that out because that's something I did want to address that I didn't, because I had to scrap the damn video. Too, I did bring that up. But what I'm looking at with as far as The Rock and Roman Reigns, that may just be something that is not even necessary to do. On one hand, The Rock doesn't really wrestle at all. He'll pop up, wrestle every 4 or 5 years or something, maybe come out and mostly just come out and talk and wind up, punching somebody to death and then doing the people's elbow after cutting a promo and send him out the ring. But if he loses to Roman, really, so what? What are you gonna say? Roman Reigns is definitely the greatest of all time. Y'all already said that because of his title reign. So what happens? He beats a guy that barely wrestles. Okay, then what? So what does it really do for Roman? It's not like it's real fighting, man. You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying about how they try to treat something like it's real when they want to try to boost somebody to be the greatest of all time. But on the other hand, if he loses to The Rock, it just puts more interest in The Rock because it's like, hey, man, this guy's doing everything and he still has it. He comes in there and he beat Roman Reigns. Losing to Roman Reigns doesn't do anything for his popularity. So it's like certain matches I just don't think is necessary to happen. But when people have something in their head like, nah, man, we've been trying to do this for so long. Yeah, but sometimes, like I said, you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. I don't know if that is going anywhere. But it was, the moment that it happened, the interest was to see what was getting ready to happen. Like, was he gonna, turn on Roman or do anything that, but hey, or if Roman was gonna turn on him. But, that didn't happen. And this whole thing with them feuding anyway, the whole bloodline of feuds, it just feels weird because it's like this is all about control. And one person trying to be the head of the table, the tribal chief and all that, it's just like, all right, it's been going on for so long that it was just a part of the show. It wasn't like, it wasn't something that I found really intriguing. It was just something that happened. I don't think it was a bad match at all. I think it had some interest. It was a good match. But just overall, all the extra, like I said, Undertaker coming out on the bike, do a ring, ride around the ring and comes out, stands there and put his arm up with Rhea Ripley, and they were both off cue. Like Rhea didn't know what the hell was supposed to be happening. They're talking to each other, but it was so loud, I don't think she could really hear him well because they were looking into the camera and all. It was, but just saying, all the Cody Rhodes interference, it was the same exact thing that happened. The same exact scenario when Cody Rhodes beat Roman, with The Rock coming out, like I talked about, with The Rock coming out, and John Cena coming out, everybody jumping in trying to help, and then The Rock comes out and hits the rock bottom on John Cena. I forgot who John Cena hit with the his move or whatever, but then the Undertaker, he comes out, he hits The Rock with his choke slam, and he disappears and runs through the crowd. And it was the same exact scenario. And that's one thing that the WWE love to do, is recycle something that they've just done year before, 6 months ago, whatever. They love to do that. And it's just something that they do where you can say that's their style. That's just what they do. So when you've seen it a million times, it's just like, okay, I mean, what was so intriguing about Cody Rhodes running out, throwing some punches at Kevin Owens, and then they fight to the crowd? I mean, what was he on the screen, like 30 seconds or something like that? I mean, just saying, like, even the whole point, even like when the let's just think about it. When the Undertaker came out and chokeslammed The Rock, it's like, why? And what I find funny is because myself, I feel like if you're going to tell a story, tell it good, tell it right, make it make sense. For all these content creators that agree and go, yeah, you're right, yeah, or how can you really say that? if you're not thinking of it like you're talking about make things make sense. And it's like, okay, what was the purpose? Even for John Cena to get involved. This is my thing about these one-offs. It's like you have nothing to do with the match at all. But it's like, okay, this isn't right. Let me show up and just get involved in the match if things go wrong. Like that's my reason for flying miles away, hopping on the plane to fly just in case something goes wrong. Now we all know it's a show, right? A part of the show. But this is what I'm saying. And he comes out, he hits his move, then The Rock hits the rock bottom on him. Why the fuck is the Undertaker there? So you understand what I mean? And he hits him with the chokes. And people go, oh, the nostalgia, it was great. I just fail to understand how any of it makes sense. This is what I mean. I just made a video about making things make sense and impactful, not do something just to do it. Okay, yeah, we saw him. Remember those times when like Ricky Steamboat, Coco Beware, Greg Valentine, these wrestlers would show up and they'd be like on an episode of Raw or something, and they don't even get any airtime to say anything. They'll just be behind backstage partying and dancing and drinking and whatever and play, like, oh, we seen them. Wow, we saw them. That was okay, yeah. Like what happened? And this is like something that they love to do, man. They just love to try to get people to come out and have some quick cameo, and then So I mean, it is what it is, man. But yeah, it had nothing to do with nothing. But hey, man. Now let's just, for example, let me show you what made more sense. Now, Sting losing to Triple H made zero fucking sense. But the NWO coming out to help Sting versus Degeneration X, that didn't make sense to me either. Now, people going, it was nostalgic just because of the fact that they were fighting. Here's the stupid part. X-Pac was a part of both groups. He was a part of both. But he comes out, he's with DX, or whatever, whoever side he was on. Sting loses. Scott Hall, and once Sting didn't take the bat, it was like, I knew. And so Triple H cheats and he wins. Because Sting's going to be the nice guy now, right? Like he's never been a bad guy before. But what made less sense is that they tried to make this WCW versus WWE. Clearly what they was trying to do. And that's why, and I think Sting knew. That's why I think Sting at that one of the interviews, I forgot what the interview was. I think it was the kickoff for that WrestleMania, and him saying at this point it would be stupid to try to make this WCW versus WWE, but that's exactly what they tried to do. That is exactly what they tried to do. But at least in that sense, you can say, well, at some point, the NWO was a part of WCW and so was Sting. Now, what was stupid about that storyline was Sting was not NWO Black and White. He was NWO Wolfpack. NWO Black and White was trying to take over WCW. So if you're going to connect the story, you expect us to just forget and bury what the history was? See, this is what I mean about about today's fan. As intelligent as people try to talk when they get on that damn camera and start running their mouth about shit, they're full of ego, man, and they just talk and they love to hear themselves talk. But that story made no sense whatsoever, man. It really didn't. Now, just the fact, and that's what they're going, WCW versus WWE. No, the NWO was not, they were employed, yes, by WCW. They were not for WCW. They were trying to take over WCW. How does that make sense? NWO Black and White was against NWO Wolfpack. Sting was not black and white. He was red and black. But that makes sense because what? Because they come out and the commentator yells WCW versus WWE. That was stupid, man. That was stupid. that was stupid, man. And not to mention, if you're gonna do that and try to pull the whole WCW versus WWE thing, all they were trying to do was not even just WCW versus WWE and WWE wins because Sting loses to Triple H, but also they wanted to make the Generation X look better than the NWO. And then people forget the NWO, Hall, Nash, and Hogan came to WWE. And you know, one thing I can say about Vince is when he don't create something, he fuck up what he doesn't create, man. He you know, people give Vince all the credit when something goes right, but Vince got writers and people around him. But Vince fucks up a lot of shit that there's people that came to the WWE and their careers took off not right away, like Triple H when he was terrorizing in the WCW. Then he came as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and remember he had them little skinny ass legs and shit. He used to wear them baggy pants with them knock knees and shit. And that Triple H, you know, got built up later on as far as becoming just Triple H, and you know the DX thing and everything. And then Stone Cold, people forget when he first came and he was called the Ringmaster, and Ted DiBiase used to come out with him, and that gimmick sucked like hell. And nobody gave a shit about what Stone Cold was doing until he became Stone Cold, and then his gimmick started to catch on. You know, but he can fuck up some things, man. Like that crappy ECW, that watered, that Extreme Championship Wrestling. There was nothing extreme. They didn't have not one extreme match. Nothing. If you watch what ECW was and watch his version, it was trash. Pure trash. That weak, watered down BS WCW, ECW takeover nonsense, and they got to turn around and then make Stone Cold the head, turned him heel and made him the head of the movement. It was just like, look at who they have from WCW and ECW, man, and look at what's going on. It just was weak, and they did nothing with that. It was just, we got all these guys over here, cool. Then Vince goes along with a false story that he single-handedly defeated WCW. And we done had other people other than just Big Mouth Bischoff verify that was bullshit. It wasn't true at all. But that's the storyline he wanted to go with. You know, he does, you know, yeah. I mean, Booker T is one wrestler that's never beaten The Rock ever. And pretty much they aligned him with Shane and Stephanie, and he was one of those guys that had to cheat to beat everybody. And they, bottom line, man, is they listen, everybody is not going to have the same fortune. And I'm intelligent enough to know that. What I'm saying, though, is, you know, he knows how to take some shit that he didn't create and just fuck it up. Remember when he brought the NWO back? I'm going to invest this poison into the very veins of the WWE. The NWO. Got a little rise up the crowd. Okay. Then he brings back Hogan, Hall, and Nash. Hogan, Hall, and Nash is backstage asking The Rock for autographs, telling him they're big fans of his. They're acting like goofballs. They were nothing like the way they were in WCW. Nothing. These guys was coming up every week attacking WCW wrestlers, and then they finally smartened up and started to stick together to fight against the NWO. But they come here, The Rock is making fun of them. He's being sarcastic with them, and they're backstage like three big buffoons. See, but this is what happens. WWE diehards are just happy with seeing people get humiliated and treated in a way where they look inferior, because they have this stupid allegiance that I'm proud to be free. I could never be a slave. But this is what people do. And they tried to talk like this was something interesting. No, it was garbage. And it didn't last. Okay. So that all being said, when you start trying to milk an idea, it's not going to come out right. And, you know, The Rock, when you watch him, when he fought Cody, the majority of the match, all The Rock really did, if you watch it, was punch the shit out of him. Look at you now. Pop. Huh? You want The Rock? Look at you now. He didn't really do anything. Throw him to the guardrails and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I don't think this is really going anywhere. We'll see. That's all I got for y'all now. I'll catch y'all on the next one.